had a really bad panic attack, and I went running to my father, who used to like solve all my problems, and he always had the answer to everything. And I remember him saying, I don't know what to do. I have no idea how to help you. There were so many things going on in my mind at the time when I was depressed, because I kept thinking, is this going to be my life from now on? And the thought of having this thing with me forever was so terrifying. Like I'd become someone that I didn't recognize, because I would do things like hitting my boyfriend, being violent, and then feeling really guilty afterwards and crying about it, because it was like, why did I do that? And it's like I couldn't control myself. I found the church and I walked in, and I remember I was still shaking from a panic attack that I'd had the night before, one of the worst that I'd ever had. And then I walked into this place and immediately I felt a sense of peace and hope. And it's like I knew from that day that things were going to get better. And then I took part in the session that was going on, and I remember the person there saying, you know, basically encouraging everyone to say your life can change no matter how hard the problem is. I started to cry because it was the first time in so many years that I really felt like my life was going to change. I finally found a place that was positive, and that, you know, my problem wasn't impossible anymore, and I actually saw for the first time that I could have a future and be happy. When I look back at how my life was then and how it is today, it's completely different. I'm happy, I have peace, I'm confident about myself, I'm doing things that I never thought I was capable of doing. I have a wonderful husband, we get on so well, and I couldn't have done all that by myself.
Hello, a very good evening, welcome to Finding Answers. Before I tell you what I have in my hand, here's the interviews that Victoria did on the streets of London, and the question that brings to you what the topic of tonight is all about.
Definitely depression is probably number one.
They're arguing and they're talking negatively about each other.
What is more valuable than another? And so
you can have as many friends and families as you want, it just depends.
Is a common regret, like, oh, like I should have like asked that person out, or like.
Hi, I'm Victoria Edgecombe, and tonight on Finding Answers, our topic is I'll never get that time back. So I'll be asking the general public, do they think that they always use their time wisely? Do you feel that you always use your time wisely?
I don't think it's possible for everyone to say that they always use their time wisely. I think that there are some cases where you can say, yep, definitely use that time wisely, but I would say that it really does depend. So for example, if you felt really productive that day, you know, you could say you used it wisely, but I do think as well that people need to have downtime as well. So I don't think you can always be productive and kind of positive and be driven all of the time, because that's not possible. I think everyone needs to rest, everyone needs to have that time to themselves as well, is really important, as well as doing other things and doing things for other people. So I would say that I use my time wisely most of the time, but I can't say that I use it wisely all of the time.
Yeah, I would say that over the last 26 years, I'd say that I've tried to go for everything in life and not really regret anything. But I guess it's difficult to say. I do feel sometimes that there's things I could have done better, there's things I could have changed, but I also try to not worry about that, because if it's already happened, there's not really much you can do, really. So I'd say, yeah, I think I've used the majority of the time wisely.
I try to, but you know what it's like with social media and stuff these days. I do spend probably a lot of time on my computer, on my phone. So I feel like I could do better, like communicate, you know, in the real world with more people. But I think I've, you know, fairly productive as I can be. I think with regard to maybe life in general, I'd like to see more of the world, but I'd need to get some more money together first.
So today we're talking about the time you have in your hands and the fact that once that time goes, you can't get it back. You can't get back whatever time you had yesterday, and if you didn't make the most of yesterday, that's it. You can't go back and do better. What you can do is you can make sure that tomorrow will be more productive and better for you. Now, of course, one of the important things in terms of how you use your time is about how you plan your future, how you make your future to pan out for you. how you make that to be a positive thing for you. For example, you know that if you don't plan things, if you don't decide what you want for the future, your life passes you by and you get stuck. You are going through the motions and nothing is really happening because you haven't planned, you haven't decided what you wanted to do. And because of this, in all our churches, in the past few weeks, we have been working with something called the vision board. We gave to everyone who attends our church the past couple of weeks this paper, which we're calling it a board. It's a paper, but I'll explain to you why we did that. So on the back of this paper, it's a blank. I'm not going to show you because otherwise the camera can't show the white. But here, what are we doing? We are inviting people, since we are still virtually in the beginning of the year, we are inviting people to put on this board, on this vision board, what their vision is for the new year through pictures. They say that a picture speaks 1,000 words. So for example, it's very common for people who want to buy a certain car, to buy a certain house. In order to help them visualize that, they put the picture of that car on the mirror where they fix up their hair, they shave every morning, and that's a reminder of what they have to achieve. Many people who want to lose weight or tone up, they put a picture of how they want their body to look there on the wardrobe as a reminder. And visual incentives are very powerful. So what did we do in all our churches for the past few weeks? And this is something we're going to be doing throughout the year. We invited people to take this vision board with them home and prepare with them here the pictures of the things that they want to achieve this year. So it's not for you to go and put, a $1 million mansion or £1 million mansion. It's not that. It's what do you realistically want to achieve by the end of this year? For example, perhaps you want to quit your job and start a business, but you don't have the courage to do that. Perhaps you hate your job, you want to go and do something that you like, something that's more profitable, that's better for you, more fulfilling. Perhaps you want your marriage, your relationship to be stable, to be happy. So all these things are things that can be represented by photographs. So we've invited people to do that, to take the photographs of what they want to achieve during this year, put it here on this board, if we can call it, because actually the Word of God says that we should write our vision and make it plain. In other words, leave no room for doubt for the vision that you have for yourself. Don't let anybody take away the idea, the vision you have in your head of what you want to achieve. The problem is that with the passing of time, many people, they lose track of what they wanted. I have here with me tonight Pastor Edward. How are you, Pastor Edward?
Fine, thank you.
I said dollars earlier because of your American influence. And actually, Victoria wasn't here with us yesterday or today, but she will be back tomorrow. She wasn't here for a few days. And it's very common to see people, for example, who they started off full steam ahead wanting to achieve something, but then they lost sight, they lost track, they lost the vision of what they wanted to achieve, and they settled for anything, right? Yes. So they've become underachievers, their life fell short of what they actually wanted because they lost sight of where they wanted to be. That's very common.
Yes, and it's not that we have to have it all figured out beforehand, but we have to have the idea, the goals of what we want to do. You're talking about planning. This is extremely important. As you were speaking about it, I remembered some months ago, I was speaking to a lady, an English lady. She was telling me that she was feeling depressed, that she was, sad most of the time. So whilst I was listening to her, I asked her, so what are your goals? What is it that you want to achieve in life? And she couldn't answer. She took some time to think about it, to give me the answer. She didn't have any goals. So you see the consequences of not planning, the consequences of not being able to envision what we want is a life of sadness, a life of negativity, depression, but we don't have to settle for that.
It's a life of failure.
Yes.
Because if you don't plan, you're going to fail, right? There's a saying that goes that failure to plan is planning to fail, right? So it's very important that you have very well defined in your mind what you want to achieve. And here's what I want to do today. I would like to give you the opportunity to take part of this inspiration we had at the church. And if you haven't yet received one of these, if you're watching us now, you've never been to our church, but you say, look, that's a great idea. Perhaps you want to envision how you want your health to be, how you want your finances to be, how you want your spiritual life, your faith to be, how you want your marriage, your relationship, your family, your children to be. And of course, you're not going to put pictures here and just wake up one day and it's there. No, that's where faith comes in. That's where the prayers that we do come in. But if you haven't had yet the chance to receive this vision board, what you can do is you can get in contact with us and we will post you one of these. That's right. We'll send you one of these free of charge, wherever you are, and then you can make the choice whether you want to come to the church with the vision that you have, the idea for your future that you have, and I'm sure that this will be a tremendously positive and beneficial thing for your life. If you want to get in contact with us to get one of these, or to speak to someone here about any problem that you're going through, to ask for help, to ask for prayers, then feel free to do that right now. The number to call and speak to our team is 020-7686-6300. That's 020-7686-6300. Or send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv. We'll be able to get your email here as soon as it comes through. And of course, if you're going to request one of these, you leave your name and your details with our team. And still, already tomorrow, we are going to send this to you, and hopefully you can join us in this faith. And I'm sure that great things are going to happen. We're going to go into a short break. We'll be right back. And you're going to hear the amazing story of a man who knew the value of his time. We're talking about time tonight. He knew the value of his time, and you won't believe what he did to make people value his time as much as he did. We'll be right back.
All systems are go. We're about to...
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues, as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
So ladies, it's lovely to have you in the studio with me. I'm rather excited.
Does character matter?
If you're married, you shouldn't be flirting with somebody else on that.
Forward and back.
Forward and back.
Roll on the knee. Relationships and money, can the two really work?
Absolutely.
I think that appearance is important.
How do you define character?
Yeah. And you want to have that perfect house, but you've got to realise everything happens at the right time.
I've got a friend who puts all her business on Facebook, and I just can't stand to read it.
You're learning already. Do you cook at home?
Yes, I cook.
Mr. Right is just right under your nose.
You get a checklist, but that checklist becomes a shopping list.
But in life, sometimes it's good to be different.
Introducing the Love Therapy website. Love Therapy can help you find true love and show couples how to enjoy happiness through a successful relationship. So why not click on the Love Therapy website for dynamic, interesting and useful tips on love. You can watch inspirational videos from happy couples sharing their experiences of maintaining relationship strength, and find out when the love therapy meetings are. If you're looking forward to a first date, then the Love Therapy website has 5 tips for that all-important first date. And why not sign up for the Love Therapy newsletter to receive the latest news and events postings? All you need at your fingertips. The Love Therapy website.
All systems are go. We're about to
Now, you won't believe what this person did in order to make someone know, or various people to know, how precious his time was. Have a look.
In February, a man successfully charged food outlet companies for the time he'd spent queuing in their shops. He recorded all the time he'd spent as a consumer during 6 weeks, and he sent invoices to 50 companies that he'd used. He charged them £25.50 an hour, which is 25% of his usual hourly rate at work, to reflect that the time spent with them is not as productive as it was with his employer. So far, 4 of the 50 have agreed to pay him in either cash or vouchers. But can you put a cost on your time? "I'll never get that time back" can be taken in several different ways. It could be seen as a statement to indicate that you have wasted your time on something or someone, and you, like the example, feel that you should be reimbursed in some way. Alternatively, it could be seen as a thought of reminiscing. You may think back to a carefree time, maybe as a child, where you had no worries in the world, or a time you spent with your grandparents, or the times you laughed so hard that you cried. You may reminisce that you won't experience those life events ever again. Either way, your time is precious. You can't necessarily put a cost on your hourly rate, but think of each moment as a blessing. Appreciate where you are and what you are doing as often as you possibly can, because you'll never get that time back.
You can't put a time on your hourly rate, because the truth is that time is priceless. It's absolutely priceless, and sometimes it's a decision that you make in a short space of time that can change everything. And that those 5 minutes, those 10 minutes, they bring result for years to come. So let go of the fear. Maybe you're afraid to make the most of right now. You're afraid to jump into something new, to quit something that hasn't brought you any result. But only when you get rid of the fear and you face that fear, you overcome it, only then can your life start to change. I want to introduce you now to Declan, who's in the studio with me, and you will see how he was wasting his time, but today he's making the most of it.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
I want to introduce you to Declan, who's here next to me. How are you, Declan?
I'm fine, thank you.
Now, Declan, you made some very poor decisions in your life in the past, right? Where did your problems begin?
It started as a child. I mean, I had a father, but I never looked up to him as a role model.
Mm-hmm.
I looked up to my older cousin, who I used to be around a lot. And I used to see the things that he wanted. I used to see things, what he used to do to get to these things, and I wanted that. So
like, what things? What do you mean?
It was the girls, it was money, it was this fame that he had in his area, the group of friends that he had. I wanted this from a young age. I mean, I now say that this is the age of a sponge, because I don't necessarily at this age, we don't have a personality. We try to absorb everyone else's different lifestyle to assume personality for ourselves.
So when you say that you saw him with a lot of girls, was that something that was attractive to you?
It was at the time, I mean, because I didn't really understand, but I saw that it got him known, everywhere. I mean, wherever you go, people will go up to him and be like, hello, or they'll be hugging him, and that was pretty much girls all the time.
Because actually the good thing that people should admire is the guy who sticks to one woman, one wife, one girlfriend. That's the guy you should look up to. But anyway, you didn't know any better, right? Yeah. And you said he always had money as well. Where did that money come from? Did you know at that time?
Not at that time, no. But I believe he was working, so I only can assume that it was work.
So what did you start to do? I mean, you looked up to him, and we know that eventually you made some very poor choices. What did you do?
Well, it started, I mean, I was at a young age, about 11, 12, I first attempted to sell drugs.
To sell drugs?
To sell drugs, yes.
How did you get introduced to that?
It was at school. I was just holding it for somebody in the older year, and then I just selling it whenever they would need it to be sold.
What did you first start selling?
Weed.
Weed?
Yeah.
So at 11, 12, you started selling weed?
Yeah.
And you were just holding it for someone. Did that become something regular after that?
No,
or?
it didn't, because I had a sister that found out, and so it stopped from then. But this didn't just stop there. It opened doors for so many other things. I started to steal phones. I started to do petty things just to receive money, just because I knew what value money had at such a young age.
So you became like a petty criminal.
Exactly.
Okay. And I mean, once you had that money, you would sell the phone or sell the drugs. What would you do with that money?
Buy food, buy sweets. Because I was young, I didn't know what to do with money. So it would just go on anything that came to my mind.
Right.
Literally.
So it started with petty things. But I know that you developed more serious problems. Where did you go from there?
I mean, I continued down this lifestyle, but I then got to an age where I could really discover my full potential in girls. So I started sleeping around with girls. I started beating up people for fun because I had an anger inside of me. And to let it out was beating up people for fun on the streets.
But what were you angry about?
It was just a lot of things that I saw within my family. I saw fights between my parents, fights between my siblings and my parents. Things like that just allowed me to hold this inside and not really tell anybody about it. So I just built up into this anger that I had, that I only could unleash it when I was thumping somebody else.
So it came from your family, but what happened? I mean, were the people in your family angry at you and then you were angry with other people, or was it the fact that you didn't feel loved, you were having problems at home? What was it?
It was just me constantly seeing physical fights.
So you saw that in your house?
Yes, I used to come home seeing my dad fighting one of my siblings. And then for me it was okay, and then...
It wasn't like a smack, it was proper physical fights?
It was not physical, but it got to a stage where there'll be a lot of grabbing involved, because when you're fed up of being hit, you're going to retaliate.
Right.
And that's how it was, and it was the same thing for me. So I grew up seeing that and then retaliating against my father. So I remember those occasions where I've punched my dad.
You punched him?
I've punched my dad. There's times I remember we was on a family holiday and it got to a stage where I slammed my brother's finger in the door. And then in the holiday, which was a family holiday, then turned into a big fight between me and my dad, to the stage where he got a knife and told me to stab him, and then left us.
Tell me that again. Your dad got a knife?
Yeah, he got a knife and put it to his belly and told me to stab him.
Why? Why did he do that?
I think he was just fed up. I mean, it's happened with every single child, and now it was happening with his son.
Do you think you became like that because of the violence you saw from your dad, or your dad was a good dad and he didn't like seeing his children like that?
I mean, now I can see that he was a good dad, but I just never looked up to him. I could never see anything positive about him. I mean, I didn't really see him supporting me in the needs that I wanted. So I really didn't like my dad.
What was the worst thing? I mean, you said you punched people. What was the worst thing you did in terms of violence, in terms of punching people? Because you said you would go and do it just for fun. What do you mean?
I think the worst one was probably my father. I remember punching him and then I just saw him laying flat on the floor. And he was literally knocked out on the floor. And that was probably the worst, one of all lows for me.
Did you feel bad with what you did, or you didn't care?
In a time of rage, you don't really feel bad, but after a while you really do. When your conscience starts to play on you, you really feel bad.
Now, so what we know from you at that point is that you were this guy who would sleep around. You had a serious anger issue. Did you go back to selling drugs afterwards?
I did, because due to me sleeping around a lot, I then had a child at the age of 18. Now, for me, I wasn't really working, so to provide money for the child, it was hard.
Mhm.
It was really hard for me. And because I was robbing a lot, I was then arrested. I was found in a car with a stolen car with a firearm as well. So on paper, I was looking at 14 years in prison.
So the firearm, was that
It wasn't
yours?
on me, but it was in
the car.
So on paper, I'm looking at 14 years. So there's a whole lot of stress that I had on my shoulders. So it allowed me the stress led me to try to hide away, to go to drugs, to turn to drugs, so I can run away from it.
You started taking drugs as well?
I started to take it, and then I started to sell drugs.
Mhm.
So it started from me being under whole heaps of stress, to start taking the drugs, then thinking, hold up, I can start making money from drugs.
Okay, so this is who you were. You were a violent guy, womanizer, taking drugs and selling drugs.
Yeah.
What vision did you have for your future at that point? At the lowest point, when you had that kid and you couldn't provide for him, when you were taking drugs, selling drugs, beating up everybody, what was your vision for your life for the future? How did you see yourself in the future?
I couldn't see myself in the future. It's because how much stress that I was in, it wouldn't allow me to see past, in the next 5 years, I couldn't visualize what would happen. It was either I was going to be dead or I was going to be in the same circle that I was going to be in.
If someone would ask you, career-wise, what do you want to do? What would you have said at that point?
I mean, there's things that I liked, but I was not achieving anything. I wasn't working, so I couldn't move forward to go anywhere. I could just tell them about things that I liked, not things that I wanted to do or things that I'm going to do.
So you were wasting your time.
Exactly.
Right? You were wasting your time with all the fights, with the drugs, with not being in one relationship. Were you using women or were women using you?
I was using women.
You were using women,
yeah.
Which is usually how it goes, right? It's usually the guy, unfortunately, that uses the woman. Not always, but... So you had no vision. If I would have come to you, like I said in the beginning of the program, and said, listen, I have this vision board here, put the pictures here of what you want to achieve, you wouldn't know where to start.
Exactly, I wouldn't. I mean, I'll just look at it and it just look like a normal piece of paper to me, and I would probably throw away. Because I didn't have the mindset that would make me think that, hold on, this is an opportunity for me to start to make something of my life. It would just look like an ordinary newspaper and I'll throw it away.
Okay. Maybe like this young man here, you are at a point of your life, not because of a criminal record or because of drugs, or perhaps, maybe it's because of that, but maybe you're at a point of your life that you know where you would like to be, but it's more like a dream to you. You'd wish to have that. You don't know how to get there. You're lost. You just want a chance at being happy. Maybe you have an idea in your mind of what you want. If that's the case, we are giving you tonight the opportunity to get this vision board that I explained at the beginning. I'm not going to explain again now. If you want, our team can explain that to you now over the phone. And if you would like to receive one, you can call in, give us your name and your details. We're going to post one to you first thing tomorrow morning. And our team can explain to you now what it is. And you have an opportunity here to take this vision for your life in your mind that you want to achieve, that you maybe deep down you still have hope that one day this will happen. It's just that maybe you've been pummeled with so many bad news that you just don't know if it's possible anymore. But I'm telling you that it is. If you want to do that, then get in contact with us. 020-7686-6300. Or send us an email as you saw the email address there on the screen. Now, Declan, today you have a different vision, right? And your life is very different.
Very different.
And you're not angry anymore.
I'm not angry.
I'm safe here next to you.
You're totally safe.
All right, so we're going to go to a break, Declan, but when we come back, you're going to share with people at home what was it that made you turn into this different man, this man who no longer needs the drugs, the violence, and perhaps your secret can help this person at home. If you want to hear how Declan changed his life, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
All systems are go. We're about to
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
Are you a duck? What can it do? It swims. It walks. It flies. But does it do them all well? Yes, a duck can do all of the above, but it's not known for being great at any. So, are you a duck? Rather than attempting to do all things, why not be the best at one thing at a time? You will find you'll actually learn to be great at more things.
I remember when I was 15, when I was first introduced to drugs, you'd think that addiction wouldn't start. Smoking and selling and having sex, going to parties, it was like my escape zone. How I heard about the health centre, I'll never forget that. It was a Friday. I had to say to myself, no, I need to stop. I've been clean for about 2-3 years.
All systems are go. We're about to
I went through one broken relationship to another. I suffered abuse, betrayal. They were unfaithful many times. That lasted for about 10 years. So I became a single mother twice because I had a child from the first relationship and I had to flee. And the second relationship, I had another child, so I became a single mother of 2. I had to flee from home. I had to go and live in the women's refuge. Because I had to flee and leave everything behind, I was left with anything. I had kind of built my life, but I had to leave everything, my job. I had to leave absolutely everything, clothes. I had nothing. I had to start from scratch. I didn't want to forgive. It was really hard for me. It was impossible because all the images, everything that I suffered kept coming to my mind. When I came to the church, I engaged on chain of prayers. I also had several sessions, one-to-one sessions with the helpers that really helped me to understand why did I need to forgive, why that I needed to let go. I had to be free. So they helped me a lot with the prayers, with the advice that they gave me, and I put into practice. Once I was able to forgive, I felt free, I'm happy, I have peace. It's amazing. You really have to let go. I'm free and happy. I have peace. My relationship with my kids is amazing. I have a home, which I never had. I have a home, and it's a happy home.
Welcome back. Let's find out from Declan how he went from being an angry drug dealer and taker and having a criminal record to the man that he is today. Declan, what happened? How did you find out about the church?
At first, it was the day my friend went to prison. I mean, I was there on a trial date with his girlfriend and his mum. And they'll just say, come to church and come, let's pray for him. So I was like, okay, I ain't got nothing to do.
So the mum of your friend who was in prison invited you to come to the church? Okay.
Yeah. So I went down and I came. And then the thing was, like, when I walked in, it was different. Everybody was saying hello, and it was just positive. I stayed there for the service, and it was just totally different, nothing I've been to before.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, after speaking to one of the advisors, I stayed there. And then they had an event coming that came up. And I said, you know what, I'm only going to stay for this event, and then I'm going to leave.
Mm-hmm.
But what I received from that event was that I could make it, that I could be somebody, and it was totally different. It helped me discover the roots that I had inside of me, and it allowed me to get rid of these roots.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen overnight, but it was a start.
So when you say that you felt like you could make it, was it because the people who were there to help you, they believed in you, or they believed you had a potential? What was it that made you stay?
They believed in me. I mean, I didn't really have to tell them much, but there was already a lot of positive vibes that I was receiving from them.
Mm-hmm.
They were telling me that I could be someone, I can change, I can become this person who I didn't see for myself that I can be.
Mm-hmm.
They really had a vision for me that I didn't have for myself at that time.
How did you get free from the anger that you had?
To be honest, the anger I didn't even notice, it just went. I mean, I was going there for a while, and then I think something happened, and then I realized I didn't react the way that I did, that I would normally do. And then from there I noticed that I was changing from inside.
Mm-hmm. Did you have, like, people usually talk about this red mist. Is that what used to have to happen to you before, that something would take over you and you would just fight, or you consciously decided to fight people?
No, I used to get hot. I used to get really frustrated. I used to break things, throw things. I was just really hot when I got angry.
So you said that the anger just went. What about the drugs, taking the drugs and selling drugs? How did you
I made
stop
the
that?
decision to stop. It was on a New Year's night. New Year's, I remember. I was drinking and I was smoking. Then something inside of me just said, you know what? I'm just gonna stop. And then from that day, I just decided to stop. And it's been over 3 years now.
How long have you been clean?
Over 3 years.
Over 3 years.
Over 3 years, yes.
And so for over 3 years, no drinking, smoking, the anger is not an issue anymore?
It's not an
You're
issue.
calm now?
I'm totally calm.
What do you do now for a living?
Now I work in education. Now I'm working as a teaching assistant in a special needs school. But the difference between me now and me then was that I have now vision of progression. I don't just want to be anybody inside my career. I want to be the best. I want to go up and conquer different things at different levels inside my career.
If you want to be the best, then you have to give the best, right? Remember that, that's very important, okay? But it's amazing to see how your life has completely turned around. For example, you said that you used to look at your cousin who had all this money and the girls, and you looked up to him. But now you can make people look at you as a positive role model. For example, you're working with young children with special needs. They can look at you and see the change that has happened in you, and you can be a positive role model for them. So that's amazing. In fact, you were talking about working in education. We have a very interesting video to do with this, about time and an exam. You're going to see there a very interesting video. Let's watch it and we'll come right back. You know, the Bible says that it's important that we redeem time. And God brought this to our attention for the simple fact that He knew that our time is limited. Now, here's the trick. When you go to work, you know your work hours. You know you work from 9 to 5, and 5 o'clock you clock out and you go home. But when is your clock out time in your life? You don't know if, for example, I'm 18, right? 18 years old, right, Pastor Edward? And you're 17, right, Pastor Edward?
Sure.
Okay, so I don't know how long I have here on this earth. I could be crossing the road here after the program and get hit by a bus and I'm gone. And I'm sorry for being so dramatic, but it's true, we don't know. So when God said that we have to redeem time, it's because you don't know how long you have. If you want help and you know you need help, then you know it works like this. Please, Pastor Edward, can you come here? Sure. I'm going to show you how God works. He needs help. He's struggling with the problem and I can help him. He knows that I have the answer to his problem. Imagine that he doesn't have a job, he's been unemployed for 2 years and I have a successful company. He knows that I can give him a job, but you don't tell me anything. How am I going to give you a job if I don't even know you need one? So I see you every day, I greet you every day, but I don't know he needs a job. So he continues unemployed. But if you were to ask me, if you say, listen, you know, if do you have any jobs going there? I'm ready to work. I'm a hard worker. I just need a chance. Then you get it.
Absolutely. It's all about when it comes to God, being sincere, being open, right? It's not about being religious. There's no right way to pray, wrong way to pray. There's only sincerity and coming to the understanding that there are certain things that we can only accomplish with Him. You know, sorry, it's just one point I want to make. Since you were talking about redeeming time, redeeming means to set free. Set myself free, set someone free. There's so many things competing, you know, for asking for our time, right? So to redeem time, in other words, to focus on things that are really important for us. Sometimes we have to sacrifice certain things that maybe even are pleasant, but not really productive. To really focus on things that maybe are not so pleasant, but really will bring such a positive result in our lives, right?
And like we were saying, sometimes all it takes is for you to ask for help. That's all it takes. And maybe you say, look, but asking for help is very degrading. It's degrading. I have to ask the person. Actually, asking for help shows that you're humble. And humbleness is one of the most attractive things in a person. If you interview 10 candidates for a job, 9 are extremely qualified but arrogant. The other one may not be as qualified but humble to learn. You're going to choose that one every time. And that's how God works. All He wants from you, it's like Pastor Edward said, there's no secret in how you ask for help or how you pray. You just have to ask for help. Whether you ask in English, in Spanish, in Chinese, in Japanese, in American, English, same thing. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you ask, listen, help me out. My God, help me out here. I'm in a catch-22. I'm stuck and I need your help. At that moment, He helps you. So make sure that you redeem time. Take the next few minutes, if you want, to call in, ask our team to take your details so you can receive the vision board. We'll send this first thing tomorrow morning. Our department that deals with this will send this to you first thing in the morning, free of charge. And you can join us if you want in our church, taking part of the prayers that we are doing every Sunday morning for those who want to achieve the vision, the great vision that they have for their life. We're going to go to a short break. We'll be right back for the prayer.
All systems are go. We're about to...
One-third of women in the world are victims of violence or sexual abuse. The World Health Organization considers the problem a global endemic. After all, these women are everywhere. She sits next to you on the bus. She walks past you in the aisle at the supermarket. She could be your manager, a friend, your sister. She could be the person you least expect. For this reason, let us break the silence. The Rahab Project invites you who have been a victim of physical, verbal, or sexual abuse, or any other form of domestic abuse, to participate in a meeting aimed at your physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual freedom, promoting peace to all women who are or have been victims of abuse. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org/Rahab.
All systems are go. We're about to
Now, in a few moments, we are going to be making the prayer on your behalf. And I remember a very interesting example about redeeming time. You know, I got married when I was 21 years old, and my wife was 19. And I remember when I was getting married, a lot of people said, you're wasting your time. You're getting married too young. Why don't you have fun? Go out, meet other people, meet girls, so on. And I tell you, it was the best decision that I've ever made, because I got the best years out of my wife. And she got the best years out of me. Actually, I was thinking about this today. Not the best years, because I got married when I was 21. I'm now 22, right? Well, I've been married for 14 years, so you do the math. So now, at this point of my life, it's the best. Some people think, oh, when I was 18, when I was 21, come on, at that time you were immature, you didn't know a lot. Now is the time that you avoid silly mistakes because of immaturity. Now you can enjoy your life. Right. So sometimes people say, why are you going to go to church? Why are you going to pray? But the truth is, you are making the most of the time you have. You are redeeming time.
And sparing yourself from so many misguided decisions, exactly. Wrong turns that we could make for not having the right guidance, right? When we are in an environment where there's people who can help us with inspiration, with guidance, right? I got married at 27. If I could,
you lost 6 years.
You see, I know. It's still also, I can share with you, it's the best time in our marriage. If I could, I would have done it earlier. Yeah. It would be better, I believe,
Absolutely.
Yes.
So what we want to do now is this. We want to make a prayer for you. You who feel that perhaps life has passed you by. Perhaps you feel you missed on a lot of opportunities. That you can't get back. But the truth is you can. Maybe not that opportunity, but another one will come your way, one that is even better, that God can prepare you for, can strengthen you for you to achieve that opportunity. And you know, maybe you've watched this program 100 times, 1,000 times. Maybe people have invited you to come to church before, but you keep saying, I'll do it tomorrow, you know, I'll do it later. Why wait for a time when you're in dire need, when you can do that right now? And you can use your faith in this God we are talking about to make your vision come true. If you would like, prepare a glass with water. I have mine here on the table next to me. And we are going to ask God to bless this water so that He can renew your faith, your strength, so that you can see that there is nothing impossible for the one who believes. Let's talk to God.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer for your health and general well-being, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord, in the name of the Lord Jesus, I know that many people see seeking you as something they can always do later. How many times I've lost count of how many times people have said, I will seek God when I am older. I'll go to church, I'll go to God when I'm older. But the truth is, many people are in need of you right now, my God, in this moment. Because it's at this moment that they need desperate help. It's at this moment that this person feels perhaps even jaded because they have missed out on so many things. They feel like the years have flown by and they have missed on so many opportunities. Lord, I ask you, in Jesus Christ's name, Lord, consecrate this water. You have the power through this water, which is an element of faith because we are blessing it now. You have the power to reach out to this person and to remove the demon that has been causing this problem in their life. You have the power to remove the sickness, to remove the depression, the unhappiness, and to give this person a new lease of life. You know, my Lord, maybe nobody believes that this person has a future. Maybe people look at them and see them as a hopeless case, a lost case. But you can. And I believe and determine in Jesus' name that from this moment on, the life of this person who believes, who prays with us, will never be the same again. I determine that in the name of the Lord Jesus. You may now drink of this water where you are. If you believe, I determine right now that your life is different. I determine this. If you believe your life, can we have this camera here? Thank you. If you believe, I determine that your life is different, that things will be different. If you were sick, you are healed. If you were unhappy, you're going to see that things are going to be different from now on. And if you say, look, I feel different right now after this prayer, I feel better. Then, sorry, Pastor Edward, I'm in front of you, but it doesn't matter. If you say, look, I feel different and I want more of this. Our church is open 7 days a week, from 6:30 in the morning to 9:30, 10 p.m. at night, every day, every single day. You want to speak to us? You want to receive this help? Speak to our team. They're ready to speak to you for the next 5 minutes. We'll be here until midnight, okay? Until tomorrow, have a wonderful night. May God bless you.